In this project, I have the stems for the track that I'm going to remix. It's called Old School Struggling by All Day Breakfast Cafe. They are a disco band from South London, and they're a group of 7 female musicians. I highly recommend you check out their music. Let's listen to the track.
We're just old school struggling, we're just old school hustling, yes, trying just to make it. We're just old school struggling, we're just old school hustling, yes, trying just to make it. We're just old school struggling, we're just old school hustling, yes, trying just to make it. We're just old school struggling, we're just old school hustling, yes, trying just to make it. When your friend Tuesday and your bills go out on Thursday, but you don't get paid till Friday, and you're working through your weekend.
So it's a really nice track and very catchy as well. The part that stood out to me the most is the hook, the old school struggling part.
We're just old school struggling, we're just old school hustling, yes, trying just to make it.
So I thought I would definitely try to emphasize this part in my remix, maybe repeat it, make vocal chops out of it. And I think it's useful to identify the hook in the original track so you can plan your remix around it. Also, in the process of trying to decide the direction for my remix, I thought of changing the tempo drastically, for example, to 110 or 150. Sometimes that works really well for a remix, but with this track, the vocal has a lot of accent in the rhythm.
Friend, it's June Tuesday.
And it was a bit difficult to make it work in different tempo ranges, so I decided to stick around 130 BPM. Now, one approach to starting a remix is to come up with a chord progression. Let's take a look at the original track and identify the key. So I believe the first part is in the key of F minor.
We're just old school struggling, we're just old school hustling, yes, trying just to make it.
We can hear it sits naturally with the F minor scale. And F is also the note that the phrase comes back to at the end. The next section, however, feels more like it belongs to the key of C minor.
When your rent is June Tuesday and your bills go out on Thursday, but you don't get paid till Friday, and you're working through your weekend.
When looking at the circle of fifth, F minor and C minor are next to each other and they share most of the notes. And I would say this is a mixture of F minor and C minor key. Let's also take a look at the chord progression. So the melodic parts are played by these instruments. So it seems like the chord progression is a combination of different notes played by these instruments, and together they sound more complex, but to simplify, it goes F minor 7th, G minor 7th, D flat major 7th, and it chromatically comes down. Let's also listen to the other section. So this section is predominantly occupied by the C minor 7th chord. And here's a new chord progression that I came up with, staying in the same key.
We're just old school struggling, we're just old school hustling, yes, trying just to make it. We're just old school struggling, we're just old school hustling, yes, trying just to make it.
Overall, I wanted to make it a little darker. It's the F minor 9th with the A flat shifted an octave higher, D minor 9th, B flat minor 9th, and C minor 9th. And for the following section,
it's June Tuesday, and your bills go out on Thursday.
So here, instead of leaning towards C minor, I'm sticking to F minor. And I think this reduces the separation between these two big sections. Also to note, I'm skipping the first beat and syncopating the rhythm, and later on I will try to couple this up with the drums. The chords are 9th chords, F minor, F sharp minor, E flat minor, and B minor. I've also made a variation of the first chord progression.
We're just old school struggling, we're just old school hustling, yes, trying just to make it.
The main difference is the third chord. Instead of going all the way down to B flat minor, like I did in the first chord idea,
we're just old school struggling. We're just old school hustling. Yes, trying just.
I mixed in D flat major chord so it feels more uplifting.
We're just old school struggling. We're just old school hustling. Yes, trying just to make.
It's good to make a few variations when you are sketching melodic ideas. You can come back to them later, and maybe there's a chance that you want to assign them to different sections. You could also refer to circle of fifth and use the relative key to change the feel for the remix. For example, in this case, the relative major of F and C minor are A flat and E flat major. So here's a chord progression that I wrote in the key of A flat major.
We're just old school struggling. We're just old school hustling. Yes, trying just to make it.
It's going A flat major 7th, B flat minor 7th, D flat major 7th, and E flat major. It's instantly brighter and more uplifting. So this might be something you want to try if you can identify the key of the original track and you can flip major and minor.